little late, somewhere 23 minutes late. Very sorry. Just let me know if you are online. Okay, video is not coming. No, wait. Yes. Hello, everyone. Take a second, everyone. Yes, everybody. Okay. So sorry. This was March season. The season of March. I had some office work too. So that it was little late. I'm just searching for the pencil. कहाँ गया मेरा pencil? यहाँ. Disha. Good evening, Disha. Hi. So I'll share the screen. Sharing the screen. Share. Okay. Yeah. In last class, we discussed about the international trade. We discussed about international trade. Especially in that international trade, we were discussing about what is international trade, what are the advantages of doing international trade, and what are arguments against the international trade. Okay, so that we discussed. Now we have to discuss about some of the theories in international trade, important theories of international trade that we are discussing now. Shall we? Ready? Yes. Important theories of international trade here. You might have noticed that many goods and services are imported by us because they are simply not produced in our country. Example, crude oil. Crude oil is the best example here. For various reasons and therefore not available domestically. Crude oil is not available domestically. We cannot produce that. That's why we have to import it from other country. We have to import that from other country. However, we do import many things which can be produced or are being produced within our country. There are many goods which can be produced. Even if it is produced in our country, we are still importing from other country. Why do we do so? Question is why we have to do so? Even if it is produced in our country, why we have to import it from other country? Question. Is it beneficial to engage in the international trade? The theories of international trade which we discuss in the following sections provide answer to these and other related questions. So basically, what is given in this paragraph? The paragraph says we are doing international trade. It is quite common if we cannot produce in India, produce any product in India, then we have to import this. There are some cases where even if we can produce in India, even if we can produce some of the goods in India, still we have to import that goods from other country. Still, why, sir? These are the questions which we have. For that, we have some answers here. The mercantilist view of international trade. The mercantilist, that means the old zamana ka, some of the economists, they were telling, they used to say that we have to do international trade because if we export more, then we are rich. So they had some point. What they used to say that, what they used to believe is if we export more, then we are rich country. We have to export more. See, mercantilism, which is derived from the word mercantile. What is the meaning of mercantile? Mercantile, trade and commerce affairs. That is the meaning of mercantile. According to Microsoft Enkelta dictionary, is the economic policy trending in Europe from 16th to 18th centuries, where the government used power to control the industry and trade with the theoretical belief. What is important, sir? The government used to believe that the national power is achieved and sustained by having constant large quantities of exports over imports. What we used to believe earlier, the economists used to believe that if you have more exports over imports, then you are rich. The nation's human and material resources are unevenly endowed. That we know. God has not given everything to everyone. Correct? No. Some or the other scarcities are there. Agree. Some or the other, deficiencies are there. So the natural resources and human resources are not naturally endowed. It is differentiated between the countries. This allows flow of labor, raw material, capital, and finished products across the national boundaries and markets also, thus resulting in mercantilism. That is, we have to trade between the two countries have to trade between each other. Why, sir? Why they have to trade between each other? Because of this reason. What is the reason? We are not naturally endowed with all the resources. There are some scarcity, so that we have to depend on others to get that product. Okay? Yes, sir. Okay. Next. Mercantilism as the earliest international economic system that possesses massive and aggressive export over import to accumulate the wealth, to have favorable balance of payment and trade, and to still relevant in today's economy. See, we agree that what mercantilist economists said, that was export should be greater than import, which is even today it is true. We have to focus on more exporting than importing. Today also it is true, but it is not the only uh, only and important theory here. See, if we go on exporting, then what is the uh, trade relation? What kind of trade relation that we have with other country? See, now simple logic, Baba, simple logic. You made example, this is one person, Mr. X. Okay, this person is Mr. X. He had two functions in his house. He had two functions in his house. Function number one is housewarming. Function number two is his marriage. And he called you for both the functions. He called you for the both the functions. Example, uh, for housewarming as well as marriage, for wedding. Housewarming as well as to wedding, he called you for both the functions. You did not attend both the functions. You did not attend both the functions. Both the functions bunk. Bunking in the sense you did not attend it. You did not attend both the functions. Okay. Now it is your wedding. Your wedding. You did call this guy. Do you think he will attend the function? Sir, Patoba hai, then he will attend. But usually he won't attend. Why? Because he will keep account that you did not attend the function. You did not attend his function, so that he will not attend your function. As simple as that. Same way, if you go on exporting, you don't import from that country. That country, now, the relation that you have with that country, no, that will get spoiled. So that for a good relation, you should have a good mercantilism. Export is also required. You have to import as well. If you import, what do? You have to pay, no? That means their income badega na. Their income increases. That's why mercantilist view is correct, that we have to export more. We have to export more than import. Import less. Import has to decrease, export has to increase. But only export is wrong. Only export. Don't import at all. Only export. That is wrong. So that's why there are some other theories which came into existence. So what was mercantilist wave? Only export has to happen. Import must not. There should not be any import. There should be only export. Adam Smith. The next theory is the theory of absolute advantage. Theory of absolute advantage. Okay. This is the theory of absolute advantage. This is Adam Smith, the father of economics, thought that the basis of international trade was absolute cost advantage. He thought that absolute cost advantage that we have, according to his theory, the trade between two countries would be naturally beneficial if one country could produce one commodity at absolute advantage and other country could in turn produce another commodity at an absolute advantage over the first. I'll explain you with the help of one example here. Everyone, 100% attention here, okay? Everybody, 100% attention here. Very, very important concept. Absolute advantage. Adam Smith, as per Adam Smith, what he explained in case of absolute advantage, this theory, absolute advantage theory, he explained that, wait, okay. Adam Smith, in his absolute advantage theory, he explained that there is labor. Wait. As per absolute advantage, country A and country B per hour, per 1 hour, country A can produce 4 meters of cloth, 4 meters of cloth, and country A can produce 2 kg of steel. What country A can do? See, country A can produce 4 meters of cloth and 2 kg steel. Okay, 2 kg steel here. I don't have to write steel again. Oh, 2 kg of steel. Okay. Country B can produce 2 meters of cloth and 4 kg steel. 2 meters of cloth and 4 kg steel. 4 kg steel here. Okay. So this is cloth and this is steel. Now, don't you think country A has absolute advantage in production of cloth? Country B has absolute advantage in production of steel. One has absolute advantage in production of cloth. The other has absolute advantage in production of steel. So what can be done here? What can be done? Country A will stop producing steel. Country A will stop producing steel and country B will stop producing cloth. Okay. This is the capacity of country B. They will stop producing cloth and this 1 hour they will invest in production of steel. What they can do now? They can produce 4 kg. 4 kg of steel extra. They can produce 4 kg of steel extra. And these guys, what country A will do? They will put that 1 hour in cloth production. They will produce 4 meters of cloth extra. Now, what can be done, sir? These 4 meters are given to country B and this 4 kg is given to country A. Sir, what has happened here? Earlier also 1 hour here, 1 hour here. Totally 2 hours. Earlier they were putting 2 hours of 2 hours of labor, and they used to produce country A. Country A used to produce how much, sir? Country A used to produce for 2 hours labor, 1 hour in cloth, 1 hour in steel. What they used to do? For 2 hours, they used to get 4 meters of cloth plus 2 kg of steel. 2 kg of steel. Country B used to get, again, they were employing 2 hours of labor for which they used to get 2 meters of cloth plus 4 kg of steel. Correct. 2 meters of cloth and 4 kg of steel. This was the case. Because of international trade, what has happened now? Okay, this is before. This is before. Now, country A will produce. Again, they will put 2 hours, and they will produce 8 meters of cloth. 8 meters of cloth plus 0 steel. 0 steel. Country B, what country B will do? Country B does, again, they will employ 2 hours, and they will produce 0 cloth, but 8 kg of steel. 8 kg of steel. Sir, what can be done now? Country A will reduce 4 meter here and will give 4 meter here. And country B will reduce 4 kg here and will give that 4 kg here. Correct? Yes or no? Yes, sir. Ultimately, what happened, sir? Because of this, because of which, what happened, sir? Country A, now country A, ultimately it has employed 2 hours for which 4 meters of cloth they have and 4 kg of steel they have, and country B for their 2 hours of production they have 4 meters of cloth plus 4 kg of steel. This is the magic. Tan, tan, tan. This is the magic. So what has happened now? See, earlier also, before 2 hours, 4 plus 2. But now, 2 hours, 4 plus 4. 2 kg free. Country B, 2 hours, 4 plus 4. But earlier, 2 hours, 2 plus 4. 2 meters free. Getting this? This is the advantage of absolute advantage. This is absolute advantage theory. Good afternoon. एक मिनट. Yes, this is absolute advantage theory. So we just discussed about absolute advantage theory now. How is it? Mind blowing? Easy, no? You want me to explain again? Not explaining, sir, but I will recall. Once I'll recall. Adam Smith, he gave absolute advantage theory. Earlier, what used to happen? Country A, if they employ 1 hour each, 1 hour in production of cloth, 1 hour in production of steel, then they could produce 4 meters of cloth and 2 kg of steel. That means they are very good in production of, compared to country B, they are good in production of cloth. They have absolute advantage over cloth. But when it comes to country B, they are poor in production of cloth. But compared to country A, they are good in production of steel. They are very good in production of steel. 4 kg steel, 2 kg steel. See, this is absolute advantage. Country A is good in production of cloth. Country B is good in production of steel. Okay, this was the case earlier. Later, they made one idea. Arey, country A, you are good in production of cloth, no? You produce only cloth. But country A says, no, 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 I want steel also. But don't worry, I am good in production of steel, no? I will produce steel and I will give it to you. I am very bad in production of cloth. You produce cloth, give it to me. We will make exchange, no? We'll make exchange so that there is absolute advantage. Okay, country A agreed. Now country A produced, see this is the scenario. Country A produced only cloth, 8 meters of cloth, 0 steel. Country B produced 0 cloth, 8 meters of 8 kg of steel. Okay, now as per agreement, country B gave 4 kg to country A. Country A gave 4 meters to country B. What is the ultimate conclusion here? What is the conclusion? Both have worked same number of hours, but earlier they used to produce 4 meters of cloth, now also 4 meters of cloth. And here 2 kg of steel they used to produce, but because of international trade, they got 4 kg steel. Earlier, country B could produce only 2 meters of cloth, but now they have 4 meters. And earlier also they were producing 4 kg. Now they produced 8 kg and gave 4 kg to country A. This is the absolute advantage which both the countries got, so that here it is given by Adam Smith. I'll read it out again. Listen. According to his theory, the trade between two countries would be mutually beneficial if one country could produce one commodity at absolute advantage over the other country, and other countries could, in turn, produce another commodity at an absolute advantage over the first. So this happens only if one country is good in production of one product and other country is good in production of another product. Adam Smith first described the principle of absolute advantage in the context of international trade using labor. I also gave you the same example by using labor. Labor as the only input, since absolute advantage is determined by simple comparison of labor. Labor productivity, it is possible for the nation to have no absolute advantage in anything. See, this is second point. Very important paragraph. It is possible that, sir, in your example, country A, sir, in your example, country A and country B was there. Now I'm talking about your doubt. What might be your doubt? Country A and country B. Country A is producing cloth and steel, both. Country A produces 4 meters of cloth, sir, and 2 meters of 2 kg of steel, and country B produces 2 meters of cloth, sir, and 4 kg steel, sir. In your example here, country A is good in production of cloth, country B is good in production of steel. If this happens, fine. What if country B, country B produces 2 meters of cloth and 1 kg of steel. Now, if you see in both the products, cloth compared to B, A is better. In kg of steel compared to B, A is better. In that case, sir, wait. That is called as comparative advantage, not absolute advantage. There is something called as comparative advantage, which we have to study. Wait, we will discuss about that. Okay. Here, it is possible for a nation to have no absolute advantage, just like country B. Just now I told you, na, in anything, in that case, according to the theory of absolute advantage, no trade will occur. There is no trade here. Why? Because absolute advantage. There is no absolute advantage. Okay. It can be contrasted with the concept of comparative advantage. That's what I said. Right now, absolute advantage is not there, but there is comparative advantage, which refers to the ability to produce specific goods at a lower opportunity cost. So you can produce specific goods at a lower opportunity cost. So the assumptions of absolute advantage theory are trade between two countries, at least two countries, actually two countries, only two countries. And he took into consideration a two country and two commodity framework for his analysis. He took two country, two product framework for that analysis. Okay. And Smith assumed that the cost of commodities were computed by relative amounts of the labor required in their respective production process. We also took the same example, not we, it is actually Adam Smith who gave this absolute advantage theory. He assumed that labor was mobile within the country but immobile between the countries. That means there is no immigration. That means the people should not come inside and people should not go outside. That is one assumption, unrealistic one. He implicitly assumed that any trade between the two countries considered would take place if each of the two countries had an absolutely lower cost in production of one of the commodities. Both the countries have absolute advantage in the production of at least one of the commodity. So this is about absolute advantage. Guys, this is about absolute advantage. How is it? Mind blowing? Mind revolving, sir. I'm just waiting for your confirmation. Okay. No comments? No doubt? कैसे हो सकता है यार? Okay. Yes. That was about absolute advantage. That is about absolute advantage, theory of absolute advantage. Now, the theory of comparative advantage. The next one is theory of comparative advantage. Okay. In one of the most important concepts in economics, David Ricardo observed that the trade was driven by comparative rather than absolute cost. There is, see, if there is absolute, there is purely coincidence. If there is absolute advantage, then it is purely coincidence. One country may be more productive than others in all goods, in the sense that it can produce any goods using fewer inputs than other countries required to produce the same goods. See, that is what we discussed here now. One country can be good in production of both the products by fewer inputs. But here, more inputs are required. Okay. So that's why we have to go for comparative advantage. Wait, yeah. We have to go to comparative advantage, which says that Ricardo's insight was that such a country would still benefit from trading according to its comparative advantage, exporting products in which its absolute advantage was greatest, and importing products in which its absolute advantage was comparatively less. See, in both the cases where they have absolute advantage, but in one case they have more absolute advantage, and in another case they have little less absolute advantage. In both the product, they have absolute advantage. Sir, little difficult to understand, sir. Don't worry, I'll explain. See, consider an example, country A and country B. Country A hour, per hour of labor can produce either 3 kilograms of steel or 2 shirts. Okay, sir. Country A and country B. Country A and country B. Okay. Country A per hour, per 1 hour, what they can do? Country A can go for, what is given? 1 hour labor can produce either 3 kg steel or 2 shirts. Steel, shirts. 3 kg steel or 2 shirts. Two numbers. Okay. 3 kg steel or 2 shirts. Yes, sir. Country B per hour of labor can produce either 1 kg of steel or 1 shirt. Okay. 1 kg, 1 number. See, if you see that in both the cases, country A has absolute advantage. Correct? No. Country A has absolute advantage. As per Adam Smith, there is no trade. There should not be any trade between two countries. Because why? Because country A is good in production of both the products. But because of Ricardo, he explained that there can be trade even if there is absolute advantage. Okay. Country A is more efficient in both the products. Correct? No, that we have seen already. Now, suppose country B offers to sell country A 2 shirts in exchange for 2.5 kilograms of steel. See, this is what the important point is. So, this is the offer. What is the offer? Country B offers to sell country A 2 shirts in exchange of 2.5 kilograms of steel. Okay. Now, see here. Country B, what is the offer of country B? I'll give you 2 shirts for 2.5 kg of steel. Now think, country A is producing 2 shirts by putting 1 hour. By employing 1 hour, they are producing 2 numbers of shirts now. What country B said? I will give you that 2 shirt. What you have to do? You have to put that 1 hour on steel. Put that 1 hour on steel and give us 2.5 kg. Now, if 1 hour is put on steel, country A can produce 3 kg extra. Correct? No? 3 kg extra. But they have to give only 2.5 kg. Okay. What they have to do? They have to give only 2.5 kg. Chalo, country A is happy because if they put that 1 hour for production of shirt, they can produce only 2 numbers. Okay, that 2 numbers is given by country B. Country B is going to give that 2 shirts. Country A is happy, and that 1 hour they can put it on steel. If they put that 1 hour on steel, they can produce 3 kg of steel. But they have to give only 2.5 kg of steel to country B. To country B, they can give only 2. They have to give only 2.5 kg. You know what is the advantage now? Same number of hours, but they are left with country A. Advantage to country A. Advantage to country A. Country A is they are putting same 2 hours labor, but they got 3 kg steel plus 3 kg steel, 3 kg plus 3 kg plus 0 shirts. 0 shirts, correct? No. Because of trade, 3 kg steel में they'll give minus 2.5 kg steel plus 2 shirts. 2.5 kg steel is gone, but still there is 2 shirts now. They got 2 shirts. They are very happy. So finally, what is the leftover? Leftover for working 2 hours, they have 3.5 kg of steel plus 2 shirts. Earlier for working 2 hours, they had 3 kg steel and 2 numbers of shirt. But now 0.5 extra, no? 0.5 extra. This is advantage to country A. What happens to country B, sir? Country B, what they do? They employ 2 hours. No, they have to employ 3 hours. They have to employ 3 hours. Why, sir? Because 1 kg steel and no. 3 shirts. They stop producing shirts now. They stop producing steel. They stop producing steel and they put that 3 hours here and they produce 3 number of shirts. 3 shirts. Okay. So finally, conclusion. See, listen. Totally they work for 3 hours. So 0 steel. They produce 0 steel plus 3 shirts. 3 shirts. And if that 2 shirts, they give 2 shirts minus 2 shirts and they will get 2.5 kg of steel. No, they'll get 2.5 kg of steel. For working 3 hours, they are getting 2.5 kg of steel and 1 shirt. Why? Because they produced 3 shirts. They gave 2 shirts to country A. So leftover is 1 shirt and they got 2.5 kg of steel. Now, strictly speaking, to produce 2.5 kg of steel in the home country, country B, how many hours was required? 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours plus 1 hour. Totally, to get the same quantity of materials, they had to work for 3.5 hours. Don't you think in 3 hours they could do this 3.5 hours work? What is the savings? 0.5 hour is savings. Half an hour. They saved half an hour because of this comparative advantage. Because of international trade, they could save half an hour. Correct. They could save half an hour because of this comparative advantage. So what happened in case of country A, sir? Very simple one. In case of country A, they produced 3 kg plus 3 kg and 0 shirts. But they got 2 shirts from country B and they gave 2.5 kg. For same 2 hours, They have now 3.5 kg. So what is their advantage? 0.5 kg of steel extra, which is left over. But in case of country B, they work for 3 hours and they got the value for 3.5 hours. They got the value for 3.5 hours. So what is their savings? Half an hour is their savings. Correct? No, this is comparative advantage. We produce these additional 2 shirts. Country B diverts 2 hours to work from producing the steel. Country A diverts 1 hour of work from producing 2 shirts. Country A will take out 1 hour cover. Country B will take out 2 hours cover. It uses that hour of work instead of producing 3 additional kilograms of steel. Which one? Country A. Country A will divert 1 hour from shirt and they will put that 1 hour to steel and they will get 3 kgs of steel. Overall, the same number of shirt is produced. Country A produces 2 fewer shirts, but country B produces 2 additional shirts. Country A is not producing any shirts, 2 shirts, fewer shirts, but country B is producing 2 additional shirts. However, more steel is now produced than before. Country A produces 3 additional kilograms of steel, while country B reduces steel output by 2 kilograms. Finally, 1 kg extra. That 1 kg, what happens with that 1 kg? Half kg is enjoyed by country B, half kg is enjoyed by country A. So the extra kilograms of steel is a measure of gain from the trade. From this trade, country B got and country A. Country A and country B got additional steels. They got some additional steel here. Nice, no? We will do one thing. Go through these points again. I have taken this from your study material. Study material. Consider this example. Or do one thing, take a screenshot and I'll give you 2 minutes. Go through all these points again. Please go through all these points again. Very important one. I'll give you 3 minutes. I'll get my charger for my phone. My phone is about to die now. Okay, I'll get my charger. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes. Yes. Was it nice? Yes, sir. So that was about absolute and comparative advantage theory. So here, because of comparative advantage, trade raises the living standard of both the countries. Because of comparative advantage, we have seen that with an example, we saw that uh 0.5 kg extra, and here also 0.5 kg extra. So Douglas Irwin calls comparative advantage as good news. Douglas calls comparative advantages as good news for economic development. Even if a developing country lacks an absolute advantage in any field, it will always have comparative advantage in the production of some goods. It will also have some comparative advantage. See, you don't have, what is the conclusion? Don't wait for absolute advantage. Look at the comparative advantage. Now, sir, CA, Chartered Accountancy course. You have, in case of foundation, no, you have 4 subjects. First one is accounts, second one is law, thirdly maths, fourth one is economics, correct? These are the 4 subjects. Not required that you have to have absolute advantage in all the 4 subjects. Hello. It is not required that you have to have absolute advantage in all the 4 subjects. The one subject where you have to have absolute advantage is accounts. Must and should. So you have to have absolute advantage. Now, in all other 3, no, comparative advantage. To pass, you have to have comparative advantage. Compared to these 3 subjects, which is my favorite? Maths is my favorite, sir. Maths is my favorite. Then you can score good in maths. Sir, law is my favorite, sir. You can score good in law. Economics is favorite, sir. You can score very well in economics. When I was talking to RGK sir, no, RGK sir told some valid points, which I seriously vouch it. I actually love the way he teaches, no. He teaches me as well. He told that, see, which is very important one. Usually students say that law is difficult. Arey Baba, law is not difficult. You do one thing, you take the paper which you have written, no? Exam you have already written. Do one thing, bring the paper. And after bringing the paper, you just see that what you have written. For anything that you have written, stepwise mark is allotted to you. RGK sir was telling this to me. When he was telling that, I was, shocking news it is. Stepwise mark is given to in law. In law, stepwise mark is given. So when he says that, no, I was like, Arre Bapre, thank you, ICAI. If you have lost marks in law, don't blame law subject. Subject is actually interesting one. Law subject is actually interesting one. But how to write it, you have not attended the question. That is your fault. It's not subject's fault. Subject is actually a good subject it is. And you do that. Bring the paper and see that where you lost the marks. And when sir said that, the a bad fate of the students, and that was the last attempt in the old syllabus. So even we told that in the revision classes, I told you, you have to attend, not in economics and maths, where objective questions are there. I'm not telling you about that, but where descriptive is there, no, you have to attend all the questions. Make sure that you will attend all the questions in descriptive. Why? Because there is no negative markings. There is high chance that in accounts, anyhow, you have stepwise marks. I came to know that in law also, you are getting stepwise marks. Okay. So what I tell you is comparatively, you have to see that which subject is your favorite subject. Which subject is your favorite subject? Some students have scored wonderful in mathematics. Kudos to Gopi sir and the mathematics, uh, the one who taught you mathematics. Why? Because you scored, there are some students who scored very well in mathematics. Those who failed also, na, they scored absolutely fantastic marks in mathematics. Compared to me, you are way beyond. I salute your performance in mathematics. Why? Because see, I did build one block. Gopi sir always says, and many mathematics lecturers, no teachers, guide or mentor, they say that mathematics may you have built one block. In my case, this has happened. Now, if I go back, I definitely say that yes, in mathematics, I did build one block. I even today, I don't like mathematics to that extent. Why? Because it was my fault. I did build one block. Today, I couldn't break it. Even now, I cannot break it. I don't have time now. But I tell you, mathematics, as per uh, the lecturers or the teachers, they say, no, you have to break that block. You have to break it. Definitely, it is easy one. You ask Divya ma'am or you ask Vindya ma'am, you ask Gopi sir. So all these people, no, they say that mathematics is easy, but the students think that it is difficult, including me. That is my fault also. I might have told you many a time. I told that mathematics is difficult to me and you did vouch it. But it was difficult to me and it is a block which I did. You have to break it. And you have already scored very good marks in mathematics. This time also you score it well. And other two subjects may you have to find out. For some, economics is difficult. For some, law is difficult. Comparative advantage. You have to look at comparative advantage. All subject is not same to everyone. It differs. In your case, law is easy. In others' case, mathematics is easy. And in someone else's case, economics is easy. And most of the time, I believe that compared to other subjects, economics is easy one. Economics is easy. Why? Because it is very difficult to ask twisted questions. Mathematics, it is possible. Law, it is descriptive. Anyhow, you have to write the provision. You have to remember. You don't have to quote the section numbers. I believe that RGK sir might have told you where you have to quote the section numbers. In my case, I was not doing that except in CA finals. In CA finals, I used to do that. Where quoting the section number is required, that RGK sir definitely would have told you about this. He is pro in law. In economics, what happens is it is the objective questions and they cannot twist it. The question they cannot twist a lot. And sometimes if you go to Google, if you Google and if you ask for question papers, no, definitely they will ask some difficult questions. Keep this in mind. In Google, they definitely ask some difficult questions. You know why? You know why? The reason is below that paper they will write from where they are giving which classes. They will mention the name of the classes, and so that by looking at the question, oh my goodness, these are the questions, I have missed it, and you will call that number and you take their classes. This is a kind of terrorism nowadays which is happening. They purposefully ask difficult questions and they make you feel that you are not ready for the exam. And finally, what they do, they will sell their product. So don't fall for it. Economics, if you study the questions which are there on the back side of your question study material, that is enough. Conceptual understanding is enough. And I'm sure that those students who scored 91, 92, 93 marks in economics, definitely they have done the same. Okay, what you do in the classroom, how much you practice in the classroom, how much you practice at home, that is more than enough. Don't take some extra burden. So why I am telling this is there are 4 subjects you have to see comparatively. In this should be absolute advantage. Account should be absolute advantage. Why? Because you are going to become a chartered accountant. So accounts, you have to give prime importance, and other three subjects may, if you give importance for all the three subjects, I am damn happy. You have to do it. But in these three subjects, if you find some subject is very difficult, sir, then other two subjects may. For that subject, you have to give importance, and other two subjects may you have to find out which is comparatively which is more advantageous. This is called as comparative advantage. Okay. So lastly, Heckscher-Ohlin theory of trade. Heckscher-Ohlin theory. So we discussed about mercantilist theory, absolute advantage theory, comparative advantage theory. Now the time is for Heckscher-Ohlin theory of trade. Here, differences in comparative advantage may arise for several reasons. Now there is comparative advantage for many reasons. In the early 20th century, Swedish economist Eli Heckscher and Bertil Ohlin identify the role of labor and capital. They identified the role of labor and capital, so-called factor endowments. Sir, we have studied in chapter 3 that there are 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, organization. And you know that land is anyhow impossible to transfer from one country to another country. Can you transfer land from one country to another country? Bajrang Bali is required to do that. That is also very difficult one. Land, it is very difficult. Organization, that is also difficult. Organization is not one person. It is a team. It is a team of many persons. So it is very difficult to transfer the team of person from one place to another place. That is also not possible. But what can be done, sir? Labor. 1 person, 2 person, you can easily transfer from one place to another place. And capital is also possible. In case of capital also, it is possible. In case of land and organization, it is not possible. So that, one second. Okay. So that this Heckscher-Ohlin, no, they said that factor endowments, there are some factor endowments which you can transfer. The Heckscher-Ohlin proposition maintains that countries tend to export goods whose production uses intensively the factors of production that is relatively abundant in the country. Correct? No. So what is this, sir? What they told here. So you produce those products. You produce. Heckscher-Ohlin proposition maintains that countries tend to produce the goods whose production uses intensively the factors of production that is relatively abundant in that country. Now, in India, I produce those products which uses more of labor. Person. Okay, again. Heckscher-Ohlin proposition maintains that countries tend to export goods whose production uses intensively the factors of production that is relatively abundant in the country. In the country like India, where we are labor-rich country. So we are labor-rich country. We have to produce that product. We have to produce that product which uses more of labor, and we cannot go to capital. We cannot go to capital rich product. Okay. The countries when well endowed with capital, such as factories and machinery, should export capital intensive products, while those well endowed with labor should export labor intensive products. Economists today think that the factor endowments matter, but that there are also other important influences on trade patterns. See, what is told in this paragraph? Very easy point which is given in this paragraph. The paragraph says that a country which is good in production of those products which are labor intensive. There is country, of example country A, where labors are more. There is one more country, country B, where there is capital is more. Labor is more in one country, capital is more in another country. Now, the country where the capital is more, they produce that product. A country where the capital is more, they produce that product which requires capital. And country where labor is more, labor rich country, they produce that product which requires more of labor, and they will exchange. This is given by Heckscher-Ohlin theory. Heckscher-Ohlin theory gives more importance for what, sir? It gives more importance for factor endowments. Increase in competition coming from foreign firms. A second. Yes. Increase in competition coming from foreign firms put pressure on profits, forcing less efficient firm to contract and making room for more efficient firms. Correct? No. There are some less efficient firms in India, example. So what government will do? Government will do a contract with other country which is good in production of that product, so that they will make a room in the country to produce that product. Expansion and new entry bring them better technologies and new product varieties. Likely, the most important is that the trade enables greater selection across the different types of the goods, say refrigerator. This explains why there is a lot of intra-industry trade, which is something that the factors endowment approach does not encompass. See, he observed that Heckscher and Ohlin, no, these two guys observed that a country which is capital rich country, what they do, no, they produce one kind of product, they sell the product which is of capital, which requires more of capital. They produce that product, they sell it, and they are importing those products which requires capital, not labor, which requires capital. No, that is what they are importing. For example, see, for example, countries that export household refrigerator may import industrial cooler. Both are capital intensive, both are producing based on capital intensive technique. Both are based on capital intensive technique. Don't you think it is against Heckscher-Ohlin theory? What Heckscher-Ohlin theory says, you have to produce, if you are in labor rich country, you have to produce those products which requires more of labor, and you have to import those products which requires more of capital. But here what is happening? What is happening in this example? These countries, no, they are importing labor oriented product and they are exporting labor oriented product, or they are importing capital oriented product, they are exporting capital oriented product. This is one drawback, or the reality. This is one reality which has happened. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Next, there are clear efficiency benefits from trade that result in more products, not only more of the same products, but greater product variety. So it will provide greater product varieties also if you do more of international trades. If you do more of international trade, it will not just improve your productivity, and it gives more of variety products. And even greater benefit may be the more efficient investment spending that results from firm having access to a wider variety and quality of intermediate and capital inputs. So what happens here? It will give more inputs. That means it will give more room for importation of inputs. Okay. So by enhancing overall investment and facilitating innovation, trade can bring sustained higher growth. So trade, because of these kind of trades, no, it will increase our growth. Indeed, economic models used to assess the impact of trade typically neglected influences involving technology transfer and pro-competitive forces such as expansion of the product varieties. So that is because these influences are difficult to model. There are some typical influences neglected. We will neglect some influences. international trade mein there are many influences. We are going to neglect that. Why we are going to neglect, sir? Because it is not possible to put all the influences in our theory, not possible. And result that do incorporate them are subject to greater uncertainty. What if we put all the influences in our theory? It will do greater in uncertainty. It will create more uncertainty. Where this has been done, however, researchers have concluded that the benefit of trade reforms such as reducing tariff and other non-tariff barriers to trade are much larger than suggested by conventional models. So all these models, what we have discussed, mercantile model, absolute advantage, comparative advantage, Heckscher-Ohlin theory. These are the four theories that we discussed, but economists say that no, these theories are very useful, but it is not complete. It is not complete, sir. So what we have to do? We have to go for some other types of trade related aspects such as tariff barriers, non-tariff barriers, like World Trade Organization, like this. So we have to study about that now. So this is one conclusion given. So you cannot put all the influences which are affecting the international trade. You cannot put all the influences. Some influences which are required, no, that we have included in mercantilist theory, absolute advantage, comparative advantage, and Heckscher-Ohlin theory. These four theories may we have included it. If we include all the influences, it will not give the correct results. Results that do incorporate them are subject to uncertainty. There will be highest uncertainty. This may happen. That's why economists say that you have to go for some other trade related aspects. So that we are going to study in next chapter. So now we have to study about some of the important points of globalization and new international trade theories. People, 1 second, I'll be back. I'm just getting a call. You do one thing. You just revise all these things. I'll be back in just 4 5 minutes. Okay. Yes, welcome back. Here, now we have to discuss about globalization and new international trade theories. Okay, the revolution that swept through the theory of international trade in the first half of 1980s, the rise of the so-called new trade theory left many of the insights of the traditional trade theory intact. That means, what is the meaning of this? New theories, international trade theories has come. First half of the 1980s में some new international trade theories. So that has come. But the old theory which was there, no, some of the insights of old theory that was kept intact. That means they did not touch that, which was very basics of international theory. In particular, introducing imperfect competition and increasing the returns into the picture does not alter the fundamental point that trade is a positive sum game. So the perfect bringing competition, imperfect competition, or introduction of competition into the market that will not uh, disturb or alter the fundamental point that trade is a positive sum game. Okay, now what is the meaning of positive sum game? Nothing but win-win situation. It is win-win situation. It has to be win-win situation. It is not win-lose situation. One country is winning, other country is losing. No, that should not happen. It should be a positive sum game. That means both should get the advantage. So generally carried on to countries' mutual benefit. Indeed, the new trade theory adds to the positive sum by enlarging the market's international trade increases the competition and allows greater exploitation of the economies of scale, both of which represents gain over and above those due to comparative advantage. So, due to comparative advantage, both the countries are gaining some advantage here. If they do the trade, in their domestic market, they were not getting any advantage. But because of this comparative advantage now, both are getting some advantage. American economist and journalist Paul Krugman received the 2008 Nobel Prize for Economics for his work in economic geography and in identifying international trade patterns. So this Paul Krugman, no? So he received Nobel Prize in 2008 for what, sir? For international trade patterns. What are the patterns of international trade? How the international trade used to happen between the countries. For that, he received one Nobel Prize. In late 1970s, Paul Krugman noticed that the accepted model that economists used to explain patterns of international trade did not fit the data. So earlier, the data which he has, no, the number of trades which used to happen in the real sense, the trade which used to happen in the real sense, and the old model. So the old model used to say that was different. Okay, both were different. Yeah, both were different. The data is telling something. Data is telling something, but the theory was something different. So that the Heckscher-Ohlin model predicted that the trade would be based on such factors as ratio of capital to the labor to labor, with the capital rich countries exploiting the capital intensive goods and importing what, sir? They are importing the labor intensive goods from the labor rich countries. This we discussed, yes or no? We discussed that capital rich countries, they were selling those products which requires more of capital, and they used to import. What they were importing? They were importing those products which requires more of labor. But Krugman noticed that most of the international trade takes place between countries with roughly the same ratio of to capital to the labor. He noticed that I told you already about that refrigerator, that example, no? So they used to purchase the goods which requires more capital. They used to sell those goods which requires more capital. The auto industry in capital intensive Sweden, for example, export cars to capital intensive America. Both are capital rich countries, while Swedish consumers also import cars from America. So Sweden sends the cars to America. Americans send their cars to Sweden. So there is, what is the point here? This is particularly true in key economic sector in India, such as electronics, IT, food, and automotive. So what we do, we sell the same goods which we purchase from other country. We sell our kind of product to them and they will sell their kind of product to us. Only that is the difference. We have cars made in India, yet we purchase many cars made in other countries. According to NTT, two key concepts give advantage to the countries that import goods to compete with products from home country. There are two key concepts give advantage to the countries that import goods to compete with products from home country. Why we have to import? That means, what is the advantages of being imported goods, or why we have to import the goods? First one, economies of scale. As a firm produces more of products, its cost per unit keeps going down. So if firm serves domestic as well as foreign market instead of just one, then it can reap the benefit of large scale of production. Consequently, the profits are likely to be higher. Economies of scale. Remember our chapter number 3. In chapter 3, we discussed that economies of scale. That means if you increase the scale of operation, it will increase the advantage. What is economies of scale? Meaning advantages of increase in the scale of operation. Next one, network effect, refers to the way one person value for a good or services is affected by the value of that good or services to others. That means, for example, if I say that, example, Article 370 movie. If I say that Article 370 movie is awesome movie, you have to watch it. It is full paisa vasool. That is the movie. See, you actually don't know which movie is that and what is that movie is all about. That you don't know. But I told that it is good, so now you feel like you have to watch it. Sir ಹೇಳಿದಾರೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. So you feel that you have to watch it. Correct? No. So this is nothing but network effect. Network. The value of the product or service is enhanced as the number of individuals using it increases. Best example is WhatsApp. Mobile apps mein WhatsApp. Number of people are using that WhatsApp. Nowadays, for sharing the files, we use Telegram. For sharing the notes, for sharing films, we use Telegram, not even mail. Correct? No. This is also referred to as bandwagons effect. Remember bandwagons effect? We discussed about demonstration effect, bandwagons effect, where sir in chapter number 2, demand chapter, we discussed about this bandwagons effect. Yeah, bandwagons effect, demonstration effect, Veblen effect. Okay. Consumers like more choices, but they also want products and services with high utility. They want more choices, but the good should be very good. Whatever they choose, no, that good should be the best one. And the network effect increases the utility from these products over the others. A good example will be mobile apps such as WhatsApp, software like Microsoft Windows. So these are some of the examples. So they told that because of these two reasons, countries go for importing. That import goods to compete with the products from the home country. So this is about some important points which we had to discuss in unit number 1 of international trade chapter. Okay, so this is about first unit of chapter international trade, unit number 1. Next, I told you here that only the theories of international trade is not enough. What we discussed in first unit, that is why international trade is required and what are the theories of international trade. Now we will discuss about there are many instruments in international trade which will help us to improve our international trade. Unit 2, the instruments of trade policy. Unit 2 is instruments of trade policy. What are the instruments which we have for a good trade? What are the instruments that we have for a good trade? Wait. Yes. The instruments of trade policy. I was just checking whether you have some extra concepts. See, this was all these chapters were from Inter. CA Inter. Inter may all these chapters were there. I was just checking whether some elaborated concepts are given or only some concepts are given. I have taken this class already, but I forgot whether it is ditto copy paste of Inter or just for foundation. So thank God or thank ICAI, you have some limited concepts here, not inter wala concepts. You don't have inter ka ditto concept. Some concepts which are for your level. Don't worry. Now, what are the instruments? The instruments of trade policy. What are the basic or important instruments of trade policy? Introduction. Before we go into the subject matter of this unit, we shall take a quick look at a few recent developments in India. India's international trade strategy. Very difficult to understand. I say that not required also. Not required. Go on reading it. That's enough. After a decade of achieving free trade deals, India has embarked on a FTA, free trade agreements, signing spree that is quickly transforming the country into one of the most FTA engaged countries in the world. So what you understood? Nothing, sir. There are first, what is important in this point, you have to understand what is the meaning of FTA. Okay, so that's why they gave this point here. Next one. So the reinvigorated free trade agreements, FTA, free trade agreements, rush began with an agreement with Mauritius on 1st April 2021, followed by fast track negotiations with the United Arab Emirates, Australia, UK, United Kingdom, Canada, and European Unions. So what has happened here? Many free trade agreements which has happened after we did it with Mauritius. Next, on 18th February 2022, a Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement with UAE was concluded within 90 days of the commencement of the negotiations and has been in force since 1st May 2022. In addition, an economic cooperation and trade agreement with Australia also concluded on 2nd April 2022. Some partnership agreements that was also concluded. The next highly anticipated free trade agreement in the works is with UK, which is expected to conclude by Deepavali, not Diwali, Deepavali, the festival of lights, in October 2022, and it has already concluded. So why these all 4 points are given to you? Just to say that, to understand these points, you need to understand some of the basic economic terms in the instruments. In the instruments, that is trade instruments, you have to understand about some of the important topics. Yes, sir. As we know, under free trade, buyers and sellers from separate economies voluntarily trade with minimum of state interference. Minimum of state what is the meaning of state interference? Government interference. Many a time, we Indians with foreigners, we trade by our own. State interference or the government interference is very less. Very less it is. Okay. The free interplay of market forces of supply and demand decides prices. Protectionism, on other hand, is a state policy aimed to protect domestic producers against foreign competition. See, if we go for more importation, what happens, sir? We import more and imported goods are quality goods and at the same time cheap goods. Then what the consumers of India do? They go on preferring imported goods, not domestically produced goods. What happens? Finally, uh, income, the income of the Indians goes on reducing, and at the same time, the uh, the domestic producers. What happens to the domestic producers? They have to die a slow death. There will be a slow death of the domestic producers. So what we do now? So that we have to protect. So we have to protect our domestic producers. We have to protect our domestic producers. How to protect them, sir? With the help of tariffs, quotas, non-tariff trade policy instruments, etc. We have to protect them with the help of these tariffs, quotas, and non-tariff trade policy instruments. In Unit 1, we have seen that there are clear efficiency benefits. Efficiency benefits. Which are the efficiency benefits? Absolute advantage theory and comparative advantage theory, Heckscher-Ohlin theory. Efficiency benefits from the trade in terms of economic growth. There is benefit. There is benefit. At the same time, there is dangers also. Job creation and welfare. The persuasive academic arguments for open trade. Open trade presupposes that fair competition should be there. See, I am opening the doors for free trade between us. But make sure that you will not spoil my market. Remember, the other country, example US, I am opening. I will open US. I will open my doors. I will open the doors of Indian market to you. But make sure that you are not spoiling my market. So that's why without distortion, it has to happen is maintained between the domestic and foreign producers. It is always make sure that a good relation that has to be there between domestic and foreign producers. However, it is fact that fair competition does not always exist. See, we know that because of, in Unit 1, we discussed that because of international trade, there is huge advantage. There is advantage, I also agree. Yes, there is advantage. But in fact, there is trade distortion. There is no fair competition. Fair competition always does not exist. Historically, as part of their protectionist measure, government of different countries have applied many different types of policy instruments, not necessarily based on their economic merit, for restricting the free flow of goods and services across national boundaries. In past, many a time the countries, they have restricted the goods to enter the country or to exit from the country. Why? Because of this reason, fair competition is not there. While some such measures of government intervention are simple, widespread, and relatively transparent, others are complex. Some of the government interventions are very simple and why you can directly sense that. Less apparent and frequently involve many types of distortions. Okay, some you can see it, but some you cannot see it. In this unit, we shall describe some of the most frequently used forms of interference with the trade. Whose interference? Government interference. Government will interfere in the trade. Why, sir? Because to protect India, protect Indian economy. Okay, this is the idea here. See, now think that there are parents in the house, family. Correct? No. There are parents in the family. This is mother and this is father. I'm so sorry. I'm very bad in drawing. Huh. So father and mother. There are childrens. Example, there are 4 childrens. And there are neighbors here. Neighbors. And there are some childrens here. There is some negotiation which is happening between the childrens. Now, what if these 3 children are exploiting these 4 children? Then who will interfere? Parents, not these guys. They will not interfere. Why? Because they are getting the advantage. No, that's why they won't interfere. Who will interfere? The interference will be from this side. That means who is getting exploited? No, their parents will get interfere here. So they will interfere. That's why in this unit, we shall describe some of the most frequently used forms of interference in the trade, understanding the uses and implications of the common trade policy instruments will enable the formulation of the appropriate policy responses and more balanced dialogues. Dialogues in the sense arguments or negotiations on trade policy issues and international trade agreements. So why these kinds of forms which are there here, or barriers or some kind of instruments are there just for maintaining a good relation, between the countries. Okay. Yes, sir. Now we will start discussing about some of the important instruments here. Number 1, tariffs. First and foremost, it is tariffs. Tariffs, also known as custom duties. What is the meaning of tariff? Which is also known as custom duties, are basically the taxes or duties imposed on goods and services which are imported or exported. What is tariff? It is the duties or taxes imposed on goods and services which are imported or exported, imported into India and exported from India, out of India. It is defined as a financial charge in the form of a tax imposed at the border on the goods going from one custom territory to another. So what is tariff, sir? Kind of tax it is. Tariff is nothing but tax on what, sir? Tariff is a tax on goods coming into India or going from India. Where it is charged, sir? On the borders. It is charged on the border. It is a tax. It is a duty which is charged on the border for goods going out or goods coming in. Instead of a single tariff rate, countries have a tariff schedule which specifies the tariff collected on every particular good and services. Import duties being pervasive than export duties, tariffs are often identified with import duties, and in this unit, the term tariff would refer to import duties. Remember, tariff can be of 2 types. One is import tariff, other one is export tariff. It can be import tariff or it can be export tariff. In this unit, we are going to discuss about wherever you find the word tariff, no, which tariff it is. Bachcho, this is import tariff. It is import duty. Okay, sir. Tariffs are aimed at altering the relative prices of the goods. Altering the relative prices. Altering means increasing or decreasing the relative prices of the goods and services imported so as to contract the domestic demand. Contract means reduce, so as to reduce the domestic demand. So why we are putting import tariff, sir? Just to reduce the domestic demand. We want to reduce the domestic demand and thus regulate the volume of their imports. Tariffs leave the protect to the domestic. No, protect the domestic import competing industries. Why we have tariffs, sir? It is to protect the importing country from imported goods. Whom they are protecting, sir? domestic producers. They are protecting the domestic producers. Yes. Continue. Forms of import tariffs. How many types of import tariffs are there? There are n number of import tariffs, or not n number of import tariffs. There are many import tariffs here. There are many kinds of import tariffs. We are discussing about those import tariffs which are mainly required for our basic understanding of the tariff. Okay. First one amongst all is specific tariff. Amongst everything, the first and foremost which we want now is specific tariff. What is specific tariff, sir? Listen. 8 seconds. People, 1 second. Yeah. First one, that is specific tariff. What is the specific tariff? For example, if I import one laptop, per laptop, 1,000 rupees is the tariff. This is specific tariff. If you import 5 laptop, 5,000, 10 laptop, 10,000, 1 laptop, 1,000, 100 laptops, sir, then 100,000, nothing but 1 lakh. So this is how we will calculate the specific tariff. Specific tariff it is. Specific tariff is the fixed amount of money per physical unit or according to the weight or measurement of the commodity imported or exported. What is specific tariff, sir? It is based on a specific goods, specific unit. That is specific tariff. This tariff can vary according to the type of the goods imported. Example, laptop. Example, first generation laptop, 1,000. Second generation laptop, 2,000. Third generation laptop, 3,000. Like this. It might vary. As per the product, it might vary. Example, a specific tariff of 1,000 on bicycle. Bicycle. Per bicycle, it is 1,000. Disadvantage. There is one disadvantage here. What if the price of laptop suddenly increased to 2 lakh rupees? Still it is 1,000, no? It is not ad valorem. It is not ad valorem. Price does not vary with the price, specific tariff, no. That specific tariff does not vary with the market price. It will not vary with the market price. Market price increases or decreases. The specific tariff will not vary. See, disadvantage is it varies inversely with the change in price. Sir, just now you told it will not vary, sir. Amount wise, it will not vary, but percentage wise, it will vary. Hello. Amount wise, it will not vary, but percentage wise, it will vary. Sir, what is that, sir? I will tell you. See, for example, one bicycle is equal to rupees 1,000 and market value of bicycle is 10,000. So what is the percentage of tariff here? Percentage will be 1,000 divided by 10,000. Answer is 10%. Correct. Answer is 10%. What if market value increases to 20,000 for one bicycle? What is the specific tariff? That will remain to be 1,000. No, I told you that will not change. It will remain to be 1,000. So 1,000 divided by 20,000. Answer is 5%. Answer is 5%. So 1,000 divided by 10,000. Answer is 10%. See, it varily. It varies inversely. It varies inversely. That means if market value increases, tariff value percentage will decrease. It will vary inversely. So this is the biggest disadvantage of a specific tariff. This is the biggest disadvantage of specific tariff. Hope you are getting this. Yes, no? Yes, sir. Ad valorem tariff. Second one. So after specific tariff, now we have to discuss about ad valorem tariff. What is ad valorem? Ad valorem is a percentage. When the duty is levied as a fixed percentage, see here amount wise it was fixed. I told you one laptop is equal to 1000 rupees. Amount wise it was fixed. But in ad valorem, percentage wise it is fixed. In ad valorem, it is percentage wise it is fixed here. Okay. When the duty is levied as a fixed percentage of the value of the traded commodity, it is called as ad valorem tariff. Okay. This will be considered as ad valorem tariff, and ad valorem tariff is levied as a constant percentage of the monetary value of 1 unit of the imported goods. For example, 20% ad valorem on any bicycle generates 1000 payment on each imported bicycle at 5000. Correct? No. If ad valorem is 20%. Okay. If they say that duty is equal to 20% ad valorem. If they say that duty is equal to 20% ad valorem, that means what? Market value multiplied by 20% you have to do. What if the value of bicycle is 10,000? 10,000 multiplied by 20%. The value is 2,000. What if the value is 5,000? 5,000 multiplied by 20%. Answer is 1,000. What is happening? As and when your market value is decreasing, the duty is also decreasing. If the market value reduces, duty also reduces. Very simple. Hai ki nahi? And if the price raises to 10,000, it generates 2,000 as the duty. This is specific tariff and ad valorem tariff. Specific and ad valorem tariff. Easy? Yes, sir. Wait. I put my iPad for charging. iPad for charging. Okay. Now, listen. Next one. Mixed tariff. There are many other variations of the above tariff, such as the variations of above tariff. Which is above tariff? Specific and mixed, specific and ad valorem tariff. Now, in that, the first one is mixed tariffs. What is mixed tariff, sir? Mixed tariff are expressed either on the basis of the value of the imported goods or on the basis of unit of measure of the imported goods. It can be ad valorem or it can be specific. That is mixed tariff, depending on which generates the most income. For example, duty on cotton is 5% ad valorem or 3% per ton, 3,000 per ton, whichever is higher. 3,000 per ton or 5% ad valorem, whichever is higher. For example, if per ton, the value is 7 lakhs. Per ton, the value is 7 lakhs. No, 70,000. Not 7 lakh. I'm so sorry. Per ton, the value is 70,000. Think. Then, what is the ad valorem? 5% multiplied by 5%. What is the answer? 3,500 or 3,000, whichever is higher. Which is higher? 3,500 is higher. So, ad valorem is applicable. What if the value is 50,000? What if the value is 50,000? 2,500 or 3,000, whichever is higher. Which is higher? 3,000 is higher. Correct? No. This is mixed tariff. Either this or that. That is mixed tariff. Whichever is giving more value, where the duty is higher, that value. Next one, compound tariff or compound duty is combination of an ad valorem and specific tariff. Both are there. Combination of ad valorem and specific tariff. That is, tariff is calculated on the basis of both the value of imported goods, ad valorem, and a unit of measure of the imported goods, that is specific. It can be ad valorem. See, in mixed tariff, either this or that. But in compound tariff, both ad valorem as well as mixed, ad valorem as well as specific. For example, a duty on cheese is 5% ad valorem plus, that means both 100 per kilogram, 5% ad valorem and 100 per kilogram. For example, what if per kilogram cheese value is 4,000? What if it is 4,000? Then multiplied by 5%. How much is 5% of 4,000? It is 200. 200 ad valorem plus 100 plus 100. Totally it is 300. This is compound tariff. Bachcho, remember, mixed tariff is either this or that. Either ad valorem or specific. But in case of compound, both ad valorem plus specific. This is compound tariff. Okay, sir. Understood. Next one, technical and other tariffs. Technical tariff. What is this technical tariff, sir? I'll explain. See, think that there are some of the goods. For example, if we are importing for example, if we are importing batteries, battery will contain some harmful items. Batteries will contain some harmful items. Now, for example, lithium. Notice it is not harmful. It's not harmful, but chemicals. No. Government might say that if you are importing one lithium battery, you have to pay 300 rupees extra. Okay, 300 rupees extra. That is technical tariff. Why? Because it contains lithium. Or food items. For example, if you are importing any food items, if it contains taste makers, then per product, per kg, you have to pay 50 rupees. That is technical barrier or technical tariff. These are calculated on the basis of specific content of the imported goods. In a sense, the duties are payable by its component or related items. For example, 3,000 on each solar panel plus 550 rupees per kg on the battery. Per solar panel, you have to pay 3,000 plus 50 rupees per battery you have to pay. This is technical barrier or technical tariff. Not barrier, but tariff. Tariff is kind of barrier it is. And tariff rate quotas. Next one. Very, very important one. Sir, what is this tariff rate quotas? Quota. Not Srihari quota or Kundapura quota. Quota. Quotas. The tariff rate quotas combine two policy instruments, which is quotas and tariff. Okay. Now, tariff rate quotas, it will combine quota and tariff. Now, the question is, sir, what is quota? For example, I say that you are importing chemical X. If you are importing chemical X, I give you, being government gives you one permission. What is the permission? You can bring to the extent of 50,000 kgs. I will permit you to import 50,000 kg per month. 50,000 kg per month. More than that, per kg you have to pay 10 rupees. Above 50,000 kg, rupees 10 per kg you have to pay. What is this, sir? This is quota and this is tariff. 10 rupee per kg is tariff. 50,000 kg is quota. Getting this? 50,000 kg is quota. Per kg 10 rupee, that is tariff. Okay, sir. Here. The tariff rate quotas combine two policy instrument, quotas and tariff. Imports entering under the specified quota portion are usually subject to a lower tariff rate. Import above the quantity threshold, 50,000 kilo ke baad, there will be huge, you have to face a much higher tariff. You have to face much higher tariff. So this is tariff rate quotas. Basically, sir, what is tariff rate quota? Very easy one. If till some amount, till some quantity, it is, you have to pay a fixed amount of tariff. More than that, per kilo, you have to pay much higher tariff. This is import tariff quota or tariff rate quotas. Okay, these are the types here. And other types of tariff, I'll do it. We will take some 5 minutes break. Okay, just 5 minutes break. I want break because my voice is little straining. Okay, 5 minutes break. You just go through all that types of tariffs. You go through all that types of tariff. We will discuss about other types in next 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, not 5 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. Yes, welcome back. Now the next one is most favored nations. Most favored nation tariff. Okay. Here, what it says, sir, most favored nation tariff refers to import tariff, which which countries promise to impose on imports from other members of the WTO. What is WTO? World Trade Organization. They will say that, see, all the World Trade Organization members, no, they are actually most favored nations. They are actually, strictly speaking, they are most favored nations, but still, these nations, no, they put some tariffs, import tariffs, unless the countries is the part of preferential trade agreement, such as free trade area or custom union. This means that, very important one, in practice, most favored nation rates are the highest that WTO members charge each other. So then what is the point of most favored nation? Why most favored nation charges highest rates, sir? Arey, people here, English grammar, that you have to give importance. You have to give importance for grammar here. Example, to all other countries, we will charge 18% as the tariff. But the highest rate to most favored nation is 10%, not more than that. That is the meaning of highest rate. Don't get confused. They will not put highest rate, 40%, sir. No. The highest rate, most restrictive it is. The highest means 10%, not more than that. To others, you are charging 18%. But to most favored nation, the highest that you can charge is 10%, not more than that. जा रहा है, समझ में आ रहा है? Understanding this? Yes, sir. So this is members of each other. Some countries impose higher tariff on the countries that are not part of the WTO. If you are not part of World Trade Organization, then there will be higher charge, higher rate, more than that most favored nations rate. Next, sir. Variable tariff. A duty typically fixed. A duty typically fixed to bring the price of an imported commodity up to a level of domestic support price for the commodity. Variable tariff, a duty typically fixed to bring the price of an imported commodity up to a level of domestic support prices for the commodity. For example, usually imported commodities, no, their price is very less. We are producing some goods in India. The price is 2000. Price of goods which are produced in India is, example, produced goods are 2000, imported goods are 1700. What government will do? Variable tariff. They will put that 300 tariff, 300 rupees extra, so that it will bring the amount from 1700 to 2000. Imported commodity up to the level of domestic support price for the commodity. It will bring up to the level of domestic support price. That is variable tariff. Sir, what is preferential tariff, sir? Preferential tariff, nearly all countries are part of at least one preferential trade agreements under which they promise to give another country's product lower tariff than their most favored nation. MN rate. So preferential tariff, it can be. What is preferential tariff, sir? Preferential tariff can be that tariff. Preferential tariff can be that tariff which is less than most favored nation's tariff. That's why it is called as preferential. These agreements are reciprocal. That means if you are one country and I am one country and I am charging 8%, you have to charge same rate. Nearly 8%. You have to charge rate 8%. This is reciprocal. A lower tariff is charged from the goods imported from a country which is given preferential treatment. Examples are preferential duties in EU, European Union region, under which a good coming from one EU country to another is charged zero tariff rate. So EU regions, the goods which is going from one country to another country, Other country to this country, they are charging zero rate. That is reciprocal. So they are charging it, they are considering it as reciprocal. Next one, bound tariff. Sir, what is bound tariff? Under this, a WTO member binds itself with a legal commitment not to raise the tariff rate above a certain level. So bound tariff is that tariff we will agree that we are not increasing the rate above a certain level. By binding a tariff rate, often during negotiations, the member agree to limit their right to set tariff level beyond a certain level. So that means we are agreeing that I am not setting a rate which is beyond certain level. Beyond certain level, I am not going to set any rate. So the bound tariff are specific to individual product and represent the maximum level of import duty that can be levied on product imported by that member. Maximum rate which can be charged by us on your product is this much. That is bound tariff, not more than that. See, you see, if there is one bound tariff, there is one agreement between me and you. Think that if there is an agreement between my country and your country that we are bounding, we are specifying one rate as the rate, it should not go beyond that. But a member is free to impose a tariff that is lower than the bound level. Bound level is the maximum rate, it should not go beyond that. But you are very free to put any rate which is less than that bound level. You can put any rate which is less than that bound level. Once bound a tariff rate, once the tariff rate is bound, that means if you are decided, tariff rate becomes permanent and a member can only increase. When we can increase, sir? Only increase its level after negotiation. Both should agree with these trading partners and compensating them for possible losses of the trade. If there is any possible loss of the trade, we have to compensate for that losses. A bound tariff ensures transparency and predictability. So if there is bound tariff, which ensures that there is transparency between us and we can predict. It is predictability is also there. Transparency and predictability. This is bound tariff. Remember what is bound tariff? If it is, if it is bound, if the tariff is bound between me and you, if the tariff is bound between me and you, then we cannot charge more than that. We can charge less than that. At any time, I can charge the rate which is less than that, but I cannot charge any rate which is more than that. If I want to charge any rate which is more than that, then what we have to do? If I have to charge any rate which is more than that, then what has to be done? In that case, there should be a proper negotiation. There should be a proper negotiation between the countries. This is called as bound tariff. Now, sir, what is applied tariff? An applied tariff is the duty that is actually charged on imports on a most favored nation. MFN basis. That is, applied tariff is the duty that is actually charged on imports on most favored nation basis. A WTO member can have an applied tariff for a product that differs from the bound tariff for that product as long as applied level is not higher than the bound level. See, what is bound level? I mean, applied tariff, the tariff which you apply, finish. What is applied tariff? The tariff which is applied, that is called as applied tariff. What is applied tariff? The tariff which you apply, no, that is applied tariff. Make sure that applied tariff is not more than bound tariff. The tariff that you apply should be less than bound tariff. Make sure that tariff which you have applied is not more than bound tariff. Next one, escalated tariff. What is escalated tariff? The structure refers to the system wherein the nominal tariff rates on the imports of manufactured goods are higher than the nominal tariff rate on intermediate inputs and raw materials. See, I'll give you one example. There is mobile phones. If we are importing, what we have to import? The materials, raw materials for mobile phone or directly manufactured mobile phone. Government give importance for materials. Why? Because it will create job inside the country. At least assembling that mobile phone parts, no? At least that will be the job, no? At least that job you give it to India. You want only market of India. No, I'm so sorry. I am not giving you the market of India. I will not give you Indian market. I will give you market plus you create some job, no? If you are sending final product, I will charge more tariff. If you are sending the raw material so that you are creating job here, then I will charge less tariff. This is nothing but escalated tariff. For example, 4% tariff on iron ore or iron ingots. Ingots is nothing but gatti. Ingots, and 12% tariff on steel pipes, which is manufactured item. Steel pipe is manufactured item. Iron ore pay 4%, but ingots pay 12%. Okay, iron ingots and 12% tariff on steel pipes. This has special relevance to trade between the developed countries and developing country. Developing country are thus forced to continue to be suppliers of raw materials without much value additions. Without much value addition, it is they go for continued material suppliers. They continue to supply the raw materials here. Remember, sir, what is escalated tariff? If you are importing the manufactured item, then there is more tax. If you are importing the raw materials, then there is less tax. Okay. Yes, sir. Next one, sir, what is prohibitive tariff? Prohibitive tariff. Some of the goods you can never import. Some of the goods you can never import. If you import that, there is a tariff which is called as prohibitive tariff, is one that is set so high no imports can enter. Very high tariff which says that no imports, you can never import. No import can happen. That is prohibitive tariff. Next one, import subsidies. Sometimes government will encourage imports. For example, if you are importing, medicines, government will encourage that import. In that case, government will give subsidies. Import subsidies also exist in some countries. Import subsidies are also there in some countries. Now, an import subsidies is simply a payment per unit or as a percent of value for importation of the goods. It can be payment per unit or it can be ad valorem, percentage. So this is import subsidy. Next one, tariff as response to trade distortions. Now, some of the countries which are there, no, they do some trade distortions in India. They are here to spoil our market. So just to fight back, what we will do? We will put some tariff that is called as trade tariff as response to trade distortion. Sometimes countries engage in unfair foreign trade practices, which are trade distorting in nature and adverse to the interest of the domestic firms. Now, some of the some of the countries, example China. What China does? China will send some China Mal. You know what is China Mal? China Mal is nothing but where the quality is very poor. Very poor quality products are being sent to India. The affected importing countries, upon confirmation of the distortion, respond quickly by measure in the form of tariff responses to offset the distortion. Quickly, we will respond by putting some tariff so that we will stop you from distorting our market or disturbing our market. These policies are often referred to as trigger price mechanisms. The following sections relate to such tariff responses. Following sections. First one, anti-dumping duties. Anti-dumping. What is anti-dumping, sir? I will not let your country to dump waste materials into my country. Or just dumping. See, for example, now China. What this Changqing Chewing people do? What this Changqing people do? They sell in their country. For example, there is mobile phone. That mobile phone in their country, they are selling for goods. That good they are selling at for example, if they are selling the goods at worth rupees 20,000 here, the value is 20,000. Okay, the value they are selling in their country at 20,000, but in India they are selling at 12,000. Why this? Why you are doing this? Nothing but to spoil the market. They are trying to spoil Indian market. Getting this? They are trying to spoil Indian market. Okay, so they are spoiling Indian market, sir. 12,000. How they are spoiling Indian market? Actually, they are helping. No, they are not helping. The same mobile phone in India, if we manufacture, the cost is 15,000. The cost of that product is 15,000. Cost of production is 15,000. If the cost of production is 15,000 and they are selling at 12,000, consumers will purchase which product? This product. And Indian producers, there is no demand for the product in India. There is no demand for this product in India. So what domestic consumers will do? They'll stop producing. Finally, there are no producers. There are no producers in India. For such goods, there are no producers in India. If there are no producers in India for such goods, who will get the advantage now? China. What China does? They will completely destroy our market by occupying our market. So they will occupy our market. If they occupy our market, they start selling later. After 5 years or 10 years, they start selling at 30,000. Whatever they lost, they start recovering now. This is called as dumping. This procedure is called as dumping. In your home market, you are selling at 20,000. But in foreign market, you are selling at 12,000. Why, sir? Why you are doing this? Because to destroy the market. So anti-dumping duty is a protectionist tariff that a domestic government imposes on foreign imports that it believes are priced below the fair market value. Correct? No, the fair market value is 10,000, but they are charging 12,000, which is below the fair market value. Dumping occurs when manufacturers sell the goods in a foreign country below the sale prices in their domestic market or below their full average cost of the product. They are selling at below the market price. So this is called as dumping. So dumping is unfair. Why, sir? And constitutes a threat to the domestic producers. That's why it is unfair. It is causing threat to the domestic producers, and therefore, when dumping is found, anti-dumping measures may be initiated as a safeguard instrument by imposing additional import duties, tariffs, so as to offset the foreign firms' unfair price advantages. What government will do? They will charge usual duties. They will charge usual duties, and upon that, they will charge extra duties just to set off this advantage. Okay. So this is about, for example, in January 2017, India imposed anti-dumping duty on color-coated or pre-painted flat steel product imported into country from China and European nations for a period not exceeding 6 months, and for jute and jute products from Bangladesh and Nepal. In 2017, India did put anti-dumping duty on all these products which we have purchased from China and European nations, and jute products from Bangladesh and Nepal. Clear with this? Yes, sir. This is anti-dumping. This is anti-dumping. So if there is one more point, that is countervailing duties. So what is this countervailing duties? See, countervailing duties are tariff that aim to offset the artificially low price charged by the exporters. Now what happens? Okay, what happens here? Countervailing duties are tariff that aim to offset the artificially low price charged by the exporter who enjoy export duties and tax concessions offered by the governments in their home country. Now, sometimes what happens, no? For selling of these goods, for selling of some kind of goods, this person is exporter of China. Think that this person is exporter of China, and there is government. China government. What China government does? They will give some subsidy to this exporter. China government will give some subsidies to the exporter. Now, this exporter, example, the value goods worth rupees 200, he is selling it for 100. In his market also, he is selling this for 100. What is the maqsad, or what is the intention of this government? Intention of the government is to make the exporter in China to send the goods to India at 100. Usually we will not get to know. So here we will not get to know whether it is anti-dumping or not. It is dumping or not. We will not get to know. That's why there are some agencies which says that there is what kind of arrangement is this? So if they find that it is some subsidies are given by the China government to China exporter to send the goods to India at lowest price, then we will put some countervailing duty. Nothing but we will fight back with the help by putting some extra tariff. The tariff is called as countervailing duties. You just read this once, I'll be back. Okay. You just read this once, I'll be back. So you read it? Okay. here, if the foreign country does not have a comparative advantage in particular goods and a government subsidy allows the foreign firm to be an exporter of that product, then the subsidy generates a distortion from the free trade allocation of resources. In such cases, CVD is charged in an importing country to negate the advantage. Actually, there is no comparative advantage. But the government, foreign government, what they are doing, they are just giving the subsidy. They are just giving the subsidy just to make it as a artificial comparative advantage. Just to make it as a artificial, look like artificial comparative advantage. In that case, what we do? We will fight back by putting some CVD. So what are the effects of tariff, sir? So these are the types of tariff that we have. Sir, what are the effects of tariff? By putting the tariff, what are the positive effects and what are the negative effects? A tariff levied on an imported products affects both exporting country and the importing country, both. How it will affect importing country? It will protect importing country. How it will affect exporting country? It will restrict the product of exporting country so that exporting country cannot send the goods to India. Fine. Okay. A tariff barrier creates obstacle to trade, decrease the volume of imports and exports and therefore of international trade. How it will affect, sir? Tariff. Tariff will restrict the product from entering into India. It will restrict the product from entering into India so that it is a barrier. Okay. Next one. By making imported goods more expensive. Now the imported goods are more expensive. Tariff makes imported goods more expensive. Tariff discourages domestic consumers from consuming imported foreign goods. It will stop consumers from consuming imported tariff goods. Domestic consumers suffer a loss in consumer surplus. Remember consumer surplus? Now that consumer surplus is not available in imported goods. Why? Because of tariff. Tariff increases the price. If price is there, now potential price is equal to actual price. So there is no consumer surplus. They must now pay a higher price for the good, and also because compared to free trade quantity, they now consume lesser quantity of the goods. Second point. Third one, tariff encourages consumption and production of domestically produced import substitutes and thus protect the domestic industries. So because of increase in tariff, we will reduce our import. If we reduce our import, then domestic goods gets more demand. If domestic goods has more demand, then our domestic producers will develop, or they can make some money. Producers in importing country experience an increase in well-being. Okay, they are happy now. Why? Because their products are getting sold more. The price increases of their increase of their product in the domestic market increases the producer surplus in the industry. So this will increase the producer surplus in the industry. The price increase also induces an increase in the output of existing firms and possibly addition of new firms in industry. So existing firms and possibly addition of new firms. See, we discussed in our markets chapter. We discussed about all these things in our markets chapter, that if there is a perfect competition or if there is good competition and there is more profit, that will make other firms to enter the market. So now other firms will start entering the market. So more job opportunities, more business and more profit. That leads to more profit. Tariff create trade distortion by disregarding the comparative advantage and prevent the countries from enjoying the gains. Correct? No, that will stop people from enjoying the gains here. What kind of gains, sir? There is no comparative advantage. It will not allow people to enjoy that comparative advantage. If there is comparative advantage, then that country will export more. Okay, they are exporting, but we are putting tariff. Gone. Comparative advantage is gone. Correct. Tariff increases government revenue of importing country. Correct. No. if there is more tariff, who will enjoy this tariff? Not importer. This tariff has to be paid by importer to the government. Government will get more income. Trade liberalization in recent decades, either through government policy measures or through negotiated reduction through the WTO or regional and bilateral free trade agreements, has diminished the importance of tariff as a tool of protection. Currently, trade policy is focusing increasingly on not so easily observable forms of trade barriers. See, all the trade barriers that so far we discussed, no, it is observable. You can see that on the bill. On bill, you can see that that tariff. But nowadays, there are more types of tariffs. There are kinds of tariff which you cannot observe. You cannot observe that tariff, but these tariffs are actually there. These tariffs are there which you cannot observe. You cannot observe that. Fine, sir. Wait. Okay. What are the things that you cannot observe, sir? Here, listen. Example, NTMs, non-tariff measures. There are something called as non-tariff measures which you cannot observe, but these tariff measures, non-tariff measures are there which you cannot observe. What are these non-tariff measures which are given here? Non-tariff measures, somewhere import quotas are there, price control measures are there, non-automatic license or prohibitions like this. There are some points here, and export related measures are also there. So these things we will discuss in next class. In next class, we are going to finish this chapter or unit. We are going to finish this unit. And once we finish this unit, now we will go to trade negotiations. There are some trade negotiations, very small units it is. So discuss about these kind of units. And tomorrow, if possible, we will finish third unit also. And fourth unit, we can keep it pending for next class. Okay, tomorrow we are going to discuss about all these things. Okay. Somewhere 2 extra classes are required for this chapter. Once we finish this chapter, we will go to chapter number 8. So chapter number, no, 7 and 8. We will finish 7 and 8. Lastly, we will go to chapter number 10. Today it is 12th, 13th and 14th. 2 days we have class. So in that 2 days, we are going to finish this international trade chapter. Okay. People, thank you so much for your patient listening. I started late, but I am leaving you on time. I'm leaving you here on time. Somewhere 2.5 hours class is done. And I believe that every day you are studying. Yes or no? You are studying every day. I believe that you are studying every day. Don't keep everything for last day. Don't keep everything for last day. That's where we fail. Every day we don't revise, and that is the main reason for our failure. So we have to study the things as and when these chapters get over. No, we have to study. What we do in the class is very limited part that we do in the class, but comprehensively we cover it. Okay. What you have to do is the foundation which is given by us, you have to start building on that. Please do it. Don't stop anywhere. It is tireful. I understand it is tireful. That means you get tired. You get tired early. And in my case, and in all chartered accountants' case, not just me, there are chartered accountants who start working at morning 7 o'clock and their work will not get complete even at 11:30 in the evening. Those who have cleared, if I tell you about their story, no, very horrible. And all the chartered accountants know they work hard for their clients, or chartered accountants like me, we work for our students also. So in your case, what you have to do, you have to work for yourself. Please do work for yourself. And no one is going to give money to you. You have to earn it. Respect, simply you will not get the respect. You need to know how to sacrifice. So sacrifice is the order of the day. So you have to sacrifice something to get a good position in the society. ठीक है? Being said that, everyone, thank you so much for your patient listening. We will meet again in the next class. Until then, keep studying, keep growing. Love you all. Bye. Ram Ram. Jai Shri Ram.